Alright, this video tutorial should show you how to implement AesTargeting into your own project, whether it be newer or older. It will work at any part in the pipeline. Uh, for this example, I have made a new third-person blueprint template from the launcher, and I have moved over the UMG assets for visual representation. And I have also created a player controller in this template, as the default template does not include a blueprint player controller. Alright, so we'll open up the player controller and we will add a player targeting component. And for easiness sakes, we can go to this project. The example project shown has a link to it in the marketplace page in the description. You can do this from scratch, but for the sake of the tutorial and time, it will be easier to just copy the tabbing and the targeting. Alright, and we will need to select the target UI, and everything should plug in, and we need to promote that variable. Alright, now we will need to add an object. Let's just hit play to make sure everything's fine. Alright. Let us create a new targetable item. So for this I'll use the ceiling light. And let's open it up just to take a look at see how it's set up. Alright, light color, blah blah blah. So we want to make this a targetable item. In order to do that, we need to go to our class settings. And we can go to Targetable, compile for safety, and we can now have access to these two functions. We have can be targeted, which is default to false, and we can either just check it to true, or we can drag out, and we can promote to either a local or a global variable. We'll make it a global for now. We'll call it can be targeted. Compile, defaults to true, that's good. And here's where you could set where you would want it to focus on when you're targeting. By default, it will be the actor center, but if we want, we can make it this, or we can make it our scene one, which is the root. We'll make it the root for now. And when we hit play, first we should add it to the level, shouldn't we? We can do that. And the UI now is already working. We only have one targetable item in our map, so there's nothing to tab to, but what we can do is we can alt drag to create more. And then when we turn around, we will notice that there are multiple lights. By default, the targeting component will move the camera off a little bit to the right and focus around the center point between your character and the object being focused, but there are a lot of other changes you can do. You can make it ignore targets not in line of sight. You can change the trace type that it uses for that. By default, it's visibility. This is a little optimization feature. You can have it scan only actors within range as possible candidates, or it can scan everything in the level, depending on what your range is going to be in the end. Then there's the current target break distance, like you're targeted onto something and you want it to break after 1500, but the other candidates for being targeted, you want it to be much shorter, like 500. This means that your current target won't auto break the target until you're a much farther distance. So like this, I'd have to be really close to even target, have it be accepted as a candidate, then I can run much farther away before it automatically breaks. Then there's the whole side view. The move right axis name would be like your move right area or your keybind. So in this case, it would be under your project settings, your inputs. By default, it is move right. In this case, it's A and D, or the controller gamepads keybinds. And there are 4 different targeting schemes. Either the center of the player's screen, the nearest possible target first, the spawn order, or the farthest away to be targeted first. This means that at the center of my screen is the one who will be first targeted. And if I set it to the other ones, it would change. So like farthest would be the farthest one away. And then there's the whole auto rotation that you can uncheck. We'll change this back to 1500. So now the camera will not be modified when tabbing. There's no focal point. Alright, I hope this video is good enough. That should be everything. Have a great time.